Good evening, everybody. Nice to see everybody in the chat. Jeff, Alfredo, Sam, Harry. You guys are always in here early, mixing it up before we get started. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hey, I wanted to thank everybody again for last night. The fundraiser went really well. I don't know if you guys saw the email I sent out today, but essentially we definitely raised over $6,000 for Felix's charity. So that worked out pretty fantastically. I mean, better than I would have thought. Felix was forwarding me all the direct donations that went through the Lou Family Fund website. So that was nice to see. And just from the stuff that we collected through the super chats and whatnot, that did bring the total over 6. So that's great. And it might be a little bit more, but we'll find out. I'll probably talk with Felix tomorrow about it as well. So very, very good. Yep. Hey, Larry and Jordan. Nice to see you both as well. One thing I wanted to let you guys know about, I did sort of mention it in the mailing today, so there's a link in there. I will be on Nick Barucci's show tomorrow at from 7 to 8 p.m. And that's over on the EXP. It's on Facebook and on their YouTube channel. I'll make sure I put something in tomorrow's mailing about it. So it'll just be an hour, and we'll be talking about the hobby, and there'll be some artwork that they have for sale at the same time. And Nick sent me a little update earlier today to sort of let me know what was going on with regards to the artwork that was going to be for sale. And it's a definite mix of X-Men artwork and some Thor artwork. And there'll be, I believe, 10 of the pieces out of the 20 or 30 that are there will be priced under $200. So with the Thors being like $196.20 for 1962, and the X-Men at $196.30 for 1963. So there'll be a lot of good bargains tomorrow. And at the same time, Nick is going to donate 10% of all the sales that are generated from that show to Felix's charity as well. So I just wanted to, if you guys have the time, 7 to 8 p.m. tomorrow. I don't have the link that I can share with you right now, but if you go check out the mailing that I sent out this afternoon, my regular weekly one, it's in there. And I'll make sure that it's part of the daily email going out tomorrow as well. So, but you can, if you just search on the THE space EXP, you can find their channel, and I'll be on there from 7 to 8 with Nick. So, and then I'll have an hour off before I do my CAF update at 9 p.m. So all good, and I hope to see everybody over there. Should be a lot of fun. Nick has been sharing some time with me, and so I'm going to do some stuff for him on his channel as well. So yes, and Nick also says his like button. Yes, more than anybody, right? So again, thanks for last night. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the CAF update tomorrow as well. But I want to get our guests tonight on screen, and let me work this out here. Good evening. This is Tyler and Maddy Chin-Tanner. How's everybody doing?
Hey, how are you?
Hello.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. Maddy, you are the youngest person that I've had on the show. So
Oh my goodness.
that's a position of distinction on the show here today. So I appreciate you're able to do this. I mean, you're the youngest collector that I think I've talked to.
I feel so cool.
Yeah, I got her in pretty young. I wasn't sure when she could start her own gallery, so I've just been throwing her pieces in my own. So someday you can have your very own CAF gallery, though.
I mean, for now it's all just in my room, but maybe one day I'll have another studio.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, it's I mean, technically, I think in the terms and conditions of the site, you're supposed to be 18 to have a CAF gallery. That was what my lawyer at the time had drafted up as like
Right.
I think it was basically you weren't supposed to register for an account until you're 18. So there, I don't know why. There was some rule back when we built the site in 2003 that was what they wanted me to put in there. So I'm sure it's been broken many times over the years.
Someone loves your Love and Rocket shirt.
Thank you. It used to be his, but it was too small, so I scooped it up.
Yeah, inherited my Love and Rocket shirt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm very happy about it.
Getting the hand-me-downs. Jordan is a regular on the show. He was on an amateur dueling dealer show with us on Monday and had a complete sellout. It was a really fun show. I don't know if you ever watched any of those, but it's probably not. I hear you. Yeah. I was just gonna say it's probably not as fun as the Heroes auctions that you guys are used to going to, but we have a good time with them. We play some memes and try to make some jokes throughout it just to keep things light and sell some art at the same time. So they're always fun. If you ever get the chance to catch one, if you want to watch one on a replay, the one we did on Monday with Jordan would be a good one because it was it was a low end show. It went really fast and and literally 48 of 48 artworks that we presented all sold. So it was fun.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's great that you do that. I think it's really cool that not only is CAF itself, the main site, just so helpful for the hobby and the industry, but now you're doing these things on YouTube and are really cool to see you doing that. So yeah, that's why I was excited when George said I should come on. And I was like, yeah, that would be great.
Right, and so yeah, I don't think did I mention? I don't know, but George Hodge, who has been on the show as a person being interviewed, and also he's been on our other show, the Collectors Conversation Show, is the one who recommended you guys be on here, and same thing with our Tuesday night show. So George is doing a lot of work. It's always helpful when people recommend people, and I don't have to go find people. It makes my life so much easier. But yes, Love and Rockets is a fantastic shirt. So yeah, you're raising her right.
Yes, a bit on the mature side. She's always leaned a little bit more towards the more mature comics. Usagi's not bad though. It was a little violent. That's her favorite. Usagi.
Oh man, I love Usagi Yojimbo. It's so cool.
Yeah.
All the pages are so well coordinated.
Yeah.
I agree.
Love and Rockets is a bit mature, but at least have and I have some of the artwork too. So.
Yeah. He's definitely more the fan though I also like it.
Yeah.
Very cool. And I love the detail that in the Usagi the comics as well. I mean, there's always just the whole page is full, and there's just little bits and things that I know. One of the pieces we're going to look at today, I was just marveling at like the rock crumbling, beneath his foot, and just things that you wouldn't think normally a person would want to add detail wise into it. And then you see stuff like that, and it impresses you with the with the thought process that goes into those, because you don't have to do those little bits and details in a piece of artwork, but you love it when you see it done.
Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely love Usagi. The composition is also crazy. Me and my dad used to do that a lot, where we would just look at the panels and he would be like, look at how the composition is right there.
Yeah, he moves the eye really well through the page. He's a really good cartoonist, and you just see the lines are always just moving in the right direction. It's just great. So it was a great education for her to be able to read all this stuff, because it started coming out when I was a kid, early 80s, and just we have all the volumes of it, and to read that, through with her is really cool. And then I was excited. I think that was a San Diego convention. I saw Stan was set up there. I just looked through his piles of artwork and grabbed that cover for her that we have. That's in our room now. One with the Bat Ninjas on it.
Oh man, that's my prized possession.
So we'll definitely be looking at that one in a little bit. And Marcus asked you about the memes. They've never seen the memes, Marcus. So the memes are what we play during the Dueling Dealers episode, just to make jokes and stuff. So I think Marcus is wondering if it's just too old guy humor, then that we've been doing on those. But we make comic related jokes on the show. So we can't. So they haven't seen an episode of Dueling Dealers yet, Marcus. One day they will.
Yeah.
One day.
And so everybody, we've got a lot of Love and Rockets fans in the audience tonight, as usual.
Yeah, Ron. Is that Ron Lim, the artist?
No, that is not Ron Lim. This is our very own collector, Ron Lim.
Awesome. That's cool. That's cool. I just wanted to make sure I knew the context. Yeah, he picked up a Love and Rockets page. That's neat.
Yep, and just like Wes mentioned, Stan doesn't sell any interiors, only the covers. So.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. That is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen any pages go on sale or up on the market.
Yeah, we've seen some little color pieces that'll put on for sale, like little drawings, maybe watercoloring and stuff, which are neat. I've always been tempted to get one of those, but for now we're just settling for that awesome cover we have.
Well, when we show it, everybody will know why. Yeah, once you have a really good representative piece, it's like you can have a few others, but that one good piece is more than enough sometimes. I mean, that's the way I've been looking at my collection lately. It's just to kind of focus on one good example from all the the artists that I really want to get something from, and then if I ever want to replace it, I would just try to trade up to get something a little bit better. But that's my goal.
Yeah,
so,
usually feel settled with a good piece. It's more like when I haven't settled on that yet, and maybe the artist is cheaper, I'll buy 5 or 6 pieces or something, and I don't know, just sort of hold on to it till maybe. I've never done a bunch for one type trade, but that seems like a good way to do it. A 5 for 1 for better piece. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So we always start off these shows with your origin story in the hobby, you know, how you started collecting or got interested in comics, and then how that spun off into the art collecting side of things. So, and then also, you know, how you got Maddy involved and how that kind of got started as well would be good to know.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll start with myself since did you want to start?
No, you can start. The elder goes first.
Since this was way back in the early 80s, I just started reading them off the spinner rack at a local drugstore in town. Pulling them out. I don't remember the first one because it was like 4 or 5 years old. The first comic I really remember was Batman Annual 8, which I'll show later, picking that up, and that one really resonating with me. But I was reading through there. I found a comic shop a few years later. I think it was 1986, because I remember the Marvel did their anniversary covers with the heroes all around it, like all the characters were around there. I found a comic shop, and that led me into Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and ElfQuest, and just read a bunch of stuff like that for a while. I didn't get into art. There weren't a lot of conventions, at least that I could get to. There were like hotel conventions, but those were just the back issues and things like that. So I think it was like maybe 1999, right after I got out of college, that I got into original art. That's when I started going. They had like the Wizard Worlds and just the more creator ones. I mean, I know San Diego went for a while, but I didn't make it across there and it was actually CrossGen. Was there. They would always have like a big setup, and I was kind of into their stuff. And the artists were all there, and they had these original artwork. And the very first piece I bought was a Scion cover. Jim Chung, Don Hillsman did the ink, and it was a cover. It's right over there. That's not one of the. It's one of the ones I could have talked about tonight, but. And just having them out there, I bought some Meridian pages. Steve McNiven was on that, and that kind of just seeing the artists there at a convention and talking to them about their books just really got me into it. And then just eBay, that was the main source I remember before all the getting into Heritage and Comic Link and things like that. I would just go on there and do some random searches for things that I liked, and just, I don't know, the world was sort of opening up to me. So just finding, it was very random, I remember back then, other than like being at shows or commissioning artists. It was just, what could you find? The prices were just, you know, kind of all over the place, figuring that all out. And yeah, I probably got the most of my stuff in this sort of mad dash, sort of a little bit after you were born. That 2003 to 2010 maybe was like my main, no, maybe that was probably a little too early, but around that time. And then it's not like I've definitely slowed down in the last couple of years. I mean, some of it is price, some of it is sort of saturation, like, because I have like 200, 300 pieces.
Right.
You know, and then definitely seeing the prices rise has been great. That just in general, the attention to the hobby and things like that. But and I've been focusing on publishing a bit more. So I've definitely slowed down. I love the pieces that I have. You know, I'll definitely get into it a little bit more. And then as far as you, do you want to just go into it? You want me to say I've just always been reading her comics and taking her to conventions. When was your first convention?
When I 4 months old, San Diego.
Yeah, that's a good place to start.
Yoda.
Yeah, we dressed her up as Yoda and took her to the San Diego Comic Convention. So yeah, you've just been really immersed in it. Creators, you know, I mean, the publishing side of it, the convention side of it, just reading.
Yeah, my first real comic book experiences is like before bed, bedtime stories. I just had like a stack of comic books that my dad was like, okay, which one? So I'd read that. And then eventually, after my sister was born, I was like 7.5. That year, I decided I was going to go with him to Comic-Cons. And ever since, it's just, we've gone to Comic-Cons every year together. And then when I started collecting art was more when I went to Heroes Con, that auction. that's when, I started. He asked me if I wanted to hold the sign. So that's just what I would do. I'd be like, me! He would tell me when, and I would like raise it really high to make sure he noticed. And I think I freaked some other people out when I did that, because I would just like go so hard and like scream.
Well, yeah, you were what, like 8? Probably like 8 when we did our first, which is more, I mean, the event, it's kind of a big ordeal, and it's a little bit more on the mature side. But yeah, so her standing up on a chair, an 8-year-old, like auctioning on these things, like a couple $100 was quite a quite a sight to see. And I try to encourage people not to worry about like outbidding her or anything like that. Like just bid as you normally would. Don't be like worried that you can't outbid a 8-year-old or a 9-year-old. But that got you really into it. And then seeing a lot of the creators on the floor too. I mean, our tables were next to some people, but then you just go find other artists to get commissions and stuff.
Just walk around.
Yeah. And I'm behind the booth all day, so she does a lot of circulating, things like that. So,
well, we should talk a little bit about why you're behind a booth as well, just to give kind of perspective. Because somebody asked you what's on the drafting table, what kind of things do you have going on?
Oh, that's your artwork.
Over there, yeah. I've been doing the Kubert School art classes with Emma Kubert.
Cool.
And over there is the art I've been doing with Emma Kubert. That over there is actually 3-point perspective. Yeah, it was difficult.
Gotta have that down.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was really fun. I like learning about all those stuff. The one I'm still doing is the one with Emma Kubert, but before, me and my dad did the other classes together. Do you remember any of them?
Oh, the Kubert offers these online schools. I went to the Kubert school back 2003 to 2006, but they've been doing these online classes because of the pandemic and stuff. So we just sitting right here, we'll turn it on and you'll have a teacher teaching narrative art, perspective, anatomy, things like that. So we've been doing that.
That's
yeah,
cool.
but I think what you're alluding to is the publishing company that I formed
right
at the Kubert School. As a lifelong reader of comics, and I didn't initially get into it. I was a teacher for 5 years, and until I just really decided I wanted to get into comics as a professional. So I enrolled in the Kubert School and went there for 3 years, and that's when I realized I wanted to do my own stuff, tell my own stories, publish independent things, and formed A Wave of the World. It's kind of a funny name. I did that in art school. I was, almost being a little bit silly with it. And here I am 15 years later, still
doing it
with a really funny name. But, so we do that, and that takes us to a lot of conventions, and I've just always been such a fanboy of artists and comics and stuff that, I go, when I'm there at the convention, I'm behind the booth, and I've got my own books, but just constantly getting art and other creators and stuff. So it's a mix of it all, and especially doing anthologies, and we'll go to a convention and there'll be like 12 artists that were in the book, and like we can get them signed and get their art and things like that. So that's a neat way to get to know a lot of different artists by doing anthologies, because you get like 20 of them in a book. So
right, exactly. Yeah. Well, and you published the book for George as well. So
so George did a really cool anthology for his latest album, Creatures, where he commissioned the artist himself to do each one of the songs. Did a short story for each track and put the book in the same order as the album. And then we published that kind of comic, and I got to know him a couple of years before that because he came and bought an art book that we published by Chris Brunner and Rico Renzi. Had an art book, and he bought that, and we got to talking, and then he approached me for that anthology, and I was like, this is really cool. So that was a lot of fun to do.
That's totally cool. And like you just said, it is a great way to meet creators when you're already behind a booth at the show. It gives you a little bit of, your presence there. It makes it easier for you to kind of hang out. And you are a publisher. And when did you actually start the business though?
So I actually formed in 2005 between my second and third year at the Kubert School. I just wanted to get started, and it allowed me to like talk to Joe a lot. I was lucky enough to have Joe as a teacher. And yeah, just sort of formed the corporation, started working on my first comic series, which was Adrenaline, which took me like 3 years to do. So it was definitely like my own sort of imprint, and sort of grew with Kickstarter and anthologies, some other things, into more of a publisher. It's kind of like in the middle of like a self-publishing small publisher type like thing, because very family orientated, and I've always had this one behind the booth with me. So part of the feel of the company has always been, she's been drawing like commissions and stuff. You go to the Away Blue World table and get an 8-year-old to draw you a commission. That's part of the fun of it.
Sure, of course, absolutely. But so yeah, well, I'm just reading through the chat. It sounds like a lot of people have experimented with bringing their children to cons as well. I mean, I have 3. They're 16, 18, and almost 23 now. But I took them into varying degrees. They appreciated it. But they always kind of gravitated to something else. Like my son, big Pokemon player, so he kind of moved in that direction. But both my daughters are definitely going to be. They're going to Full Sail, and the 18-year-old is starting college there, and their first 7 months are all online as well. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see how it's going. And my youngest, the 16-year-old, is actually spending 2 weeks. It's like a mini camp at the Cleveland Institute of Art for animation, and she's getting a really good. I mean, she's been sending me little clips of stuff she's doing. So it's fun. It's definitely and I really think it's because you can gauge them early, expose them to the arts, and then they all kind of have gone in their own different directions. My son did get a degree in graphic design at the end of the day, and he's doing video editing for me right now for some of the stuff that we do here.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you like animation. That's a possibility you might get into, right?
Yeah, but I tried it a little bit, but it was pretty hard to get it smooth. Oh man, I think art is a little more for me. But if I ever figure it out, yeah.
We'll see when you go to school,
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I went to school to be a sculptor, and I ended up being a web designer. So, so you just never know what niche you fall into, where you get a break and everything. But I think the more things you're exposed to, the better, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
That's my philosophy with her. Like, I'll show her the comics and the stuff that I know, but the more you can get into, whether it's painting or sculpting. You did a little sculpty stuff sometimes, right?
Oh, well, that's with my dad has these gummy erasers where that's like basically his eraser, but I take it and then I sculpt out of it.
Eraser things that people use, yeah. But I get you some sculpty too, but yeah, all right. yeah. So whatever you like to do.
Right, but that is very cool that you're taking the classes online through there. I know that Anthony, as somebody mentioned earlier too, Anthony Snyder's son is going to the Kubert School as well. So yeah, I mean, I even looked into it when when I think that's great, and a lot of great creators have come out of the Kubert School. So I mean, it does a world of good, and it's cool that you're following in your dad's footsteps there, your own way.
Yeah.
So. Sorry, I'm just reading through some of the things around the chat.
Yeah, I gotta read it too. It's hard to keep up. I just can't. I'm talking about golf now.
Yes, Jeff Moy is a creator as well. So yes, the kneadable erasers they always come in handy. But so why don't we look at some artwork? I mean, I know that. How did you want to do it? You sent me 8 pieces that Maddy has in her collection, and 8 pieces that you got taught. You want me to do them like one after the other? One for her, one for you.
Whatever's easier for you to pull up. We can take turns. We can just see how it goes. I mean, whatever. We're happy to talk. Whatever. Yeah.
So before we get started on that though, so I mean, obviously you've been away from cons for the last year, like everybody else has. So what's your plan as far as getting Wave Blue World back out onto the convention circuit? Are you thinking 2022, or what's your plan there?
Yeah, for 2022 for conventions. I got a professional badge for New York Comic Con, and I'll probably go Thursday and Friday. I don't know. We'll just have to see how things are. I know it's in a few months from now. I just want to make sure, and especially in a convention hall and people traveling and things. So I might keep it limited to places that I don't have to fly to. Like I usually do Emerald City Comic Con, I'm not going to do that in December or even March. We can drive to Heroes Con. It's a long drive, like 11 hours, but it's still nicer than the plane. I mean, even pandemic aside, just because of the hassle of the airport and stuff. So I'm definitely targeting Heroes Con 2022 as not necessarily the first, but like the most like definite one that I want to do. But it could very well be the first. I don't know that we'll do a ton. I will try to do more online events. I mean, I really like that development. It is nice to see people and have that contact and stuff, but conventions can be really tiring and a lot of travel. So, we might try to do a few conventions, some more online events, things like that. We'll see.
All right, cool. And Maddy, there's been a few requests to see some of your art. So if you want to show a couple things that you've done, I can make you guys full screen before we show any of the artwork that you collected, if you don't mind.
Sure. I mean, that's my first attempt at 3-point perspective, so sorry if it's not the greatest, but
you got to start somewhere.
Over here is so I made this character a little while back where Emma had an assignment where we had to create our own 2 superheroes, one superhero, one supervillain. So this is my wrong side. This is my supervillain girl. She has hair control and super strength. So I tried to draw in 3-point perspective. I don't know if I quite got it, but
that's not bad.
You want to share any of these stuff? You got some more characters. That's a funny one. That looks like you're doing little peanuts.
Oh yeah. I like the peanuts, so I tried to do my own thing. I got a couple characters there, but nothing down yet. And I also have this big page. This was from our last class. This was my first attempt at. Well, actually, she wanted us to do the 50 character challenge. But then she was like, all right, maybe that is a little bit much. So she let us do 10 characters instead of 50. That's my big drawing.
Should have a dragon piece here. Somebody climbing down a cave or something. Dragon.
Hiding from the dragon, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, I mean, it's a good mix. And there's even just like they'll do like a bunch of gestures and stuff. So. A lot of it's like practice, gesture, and perspective, and sometimes finished pieces. So
it's really fun, though it's early, so I'm tired when I get there.
It's early. It's at 10 a.m.
Oh, I get you. Well, here I've got something I can recommend for you because it's very, very cool, and I'm only going to show you the Kickstarter page just because it's you can write this down. It's essentially this guy who puts together these decks of cards, and it's called the Reckless Deck. And I know he's got several different iterations of them, but what they are is it's great for just kind of working on your character design kind of concepts, where you pull a lot of a card that says it's it's an aquatic. You want to have an aquatic scenario for that character, and then this is the kind of weapon they may have, or the kind of clothing they'll wear. And it's literally just random. And so you'll pull like 6 cards out, and you've got to like have them with a harpoon gun, with a space helmet, that is wearing steampunk boots or whatever. And then you kind of have to mix it up. And my kids do it all the time just for like fun in the afternoon. And they come up with just amazing drawings. I mean, stuff that you wouldn't think, you would ever do. And it's just cool because, a lot of the things that you would do as a professional later on is character design, especially because the guy who did it, he does a lot of work with Magic the Gathering and a few of those other things. And that's all about, a lot of costume and character design. And that's a big part of your learning experience in creating comics. So it's just a really good, engaging way to kind of like, you just lay out the cards and you're like, all right, that's what I've got to draw. You take 30 minutes and you walk away after you're done. And, and again, this guy's made probably 6 or 7 different sets of the decks, and it's just fun. It's just like a game. You kind of challenge, yourself to come up with something really cool from that.
Yeah, well, it's neat. Yeah, we'll look into that.
Definitely. It is a good thing. So, all right. So, Maddy, we're going to start you off with the first piece of artwork this evening.
Oh, it's me first. How exciting.
Yes, exactly. All right. Let's see. Here is the first piece.
Oh, yeah. So that is my Scotty Young.
Is it Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy piece. Do you actually remember where I got it? I feel like
I got that. We got that from Felix at New York Comic Con a couple years ago.
Yeah.
From Scotty was there.
Yeah, this guy got it for me.
Yeah. Well, you were there. We saw him. We took a picture with Scotty. Yeah, she loves Scotty Young's style. We were reading the Wizard of Oz, and then we picked up another one, but it was a little much. It was super mature. It wasn't bad. Some girl. It was like fairy tale.
Oh, I Hate Fairyland.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it was bloody, but yeah.
Yeah. So we checked out some of his Marvel stuff, and he has those like kids things, and yeah, I don't know. Do you remember anything specific about this piece?
I don't remember anything specific, but I do look at it a lot because it's so cool. I really like the style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always loved Scotty's work. I mean, this is really cool. And I didn't pull up that I didn't add the picture. I know you had included it in those things, but that was a very fun picture with you and Scotty.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted to show that or not, or what. I just attached them to the email. You know, sometime we should make a gallery of you meeting creators. Yeah, but yeah, meeting Scotty was great, and we got to surprise him a little when we took the photo. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, neat.
Yeah, no, very nice. And Scotty's a great guy.
Yeah,
I've met him several times. He's really fun and very outgoing, and I mean his art style is just totally cool. I mean I've always enjoyed it. So nice, a very good choice there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now it's your turn.
I guess.
Yeah.
You're gonna talk now.
On Maddy.
Yeah, we're gonna switch it up a little bit here with Tyler's piece. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's actually right there.
It's above my desk.
Is that your second favorite page that you have? Or yeah.
It's definitely one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. It's the most I've ever spent on a page. I think it was an auction. I don't remember if it was Heritage or Comic Link, but yeah, this is just the one that I just had to outbid everybody, which I don't do very often. I usually just look for deals and good prices, but I mean, I love Hellboy. I love Mignola just from, I remember his Hulk covers and Gotham by Gaslight. And then, yeah, I was reading Hellboy pretty much from the beginning, Dark Horse Presents and the trades. And this is just such a great moment when he pulls the horns off. Yeah, I really went after this. I actually took it down off my CAF because so many people would just email me asking me to sell it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I won't let him. That's awesome.
I wasn't planning on it. Yeah, this is just, I mean, it's one of those few examples where I'm just like got the page that I don't know that there's a better one out there for me. I mean, I'm not saying it's the best Hellboy piece ever, but I just don't, there'd be no need to upgrade.
It's cool.
It's just a really cool, great example from the story of his artwork. Yeah, just absolutely one of my favorites. I do have a few. I have a couple covers, an Ape Sapien cover and a BPRD cover. But I just, if I can get an interior page that I think is as cool as a cover, and that's pretty great too. So, yep, definitely one of my faves.
No, that's a wonderful score, and you could almost stop buying Mike's work after that one right there.
I did, yeah. I was like, well, that's enough. I spent enough on that one for.
I mean, Mike has a way of doing that, though. I mean, there's a lot of really great, interior pages that I think a collector could look at and just be satisfied with that. I mean, covers are beautiful too, but yeah, I love his storytelling and just that particular page, like Ruben said, the first panel is just amazing, and it just kind of gets better and different throughout the whole page. So I love Mike's the way he handles the layouts and structures everything. So congratulations for that one.
Thank you. Yeah,
it may have been one of your biggest purchases, but it was well worth it.
I've done all of my biggest purchases. I realize this. I never regret. Not that I regret many at all, but I've never looked back. Every time I've spent a ton of money on something, they've just remained like my favorite pieces. So, I mean, I guess that's a good way to look at it.
Right.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
We do talk about that. like I said, we talk about that a lot. You know, that you never regret the money that you didn't spend, or that you did spend. You might regret the money that you didn't spend. So, you know, something like that, you don't mind overpaying, even if you felt like you were overpaying because you got that piece that you really wanted to have. So, no, that's when you see something like that, you just have to go for it, because they don't come back too often. You know, a lot, especially these days. I think what we're seeing more regularly is, I mean, very, very choice select pieces are getting, you know, put out on the market because of the prices that are out there today. But there's some niches where you just don't see a lot of fantastic examples coming out with any regularity. And Mike's work in particular, you know, I would say over the last year and a half, I mean, it's been few and far between. I mean, there probably will come a point in time when we start seeing a lot of you know, more pieces like that on the market. But it's been a while. It's definitely been a long while.
Yeah. Oh, I also have that other piece that you shared in the image for this the episode. Oh. I got that from Mike, and it was a great story because that was in Budapest, that statue. He was there for the filming of the first Hellboy movie, and he saw that statue, so he drew it, and then just drew Hellboy underneath it. And so that's probably my other favorite piece by him too, just because it has that cool story.
Right. I think that was one of the more commented pieces in your gallery. Whenever I don't have what I need to kind of make that initial image or something, or I want something extra, because I don't think I had your art list at that point. I just went to your CAF and I filtered it by like most views or most comments, and that one just jumped out, and I was like, oh, that's a great image to use. And again, I know I linked your gallery in there earlier. I hope everybody's checking out Tyler's gallery and leaving comments and likes on many things in there tonight. So be sure to hit up their gallery, because Maddy's artwork is in there too.
Yes, some of your stuff is in there.
Do?
Well, I couldn't. You're not 18 yet, so take your own.
You can't have your own.
Yeah,
you have to share for now.
Yeah.
But all right, well, let's. There's an Eric Powell piece that we'll show.
Oh yeah, well, this one has a good story.
Oh yeah, this one's mine. Okay, so this one has a story. So this was actually something that I asked him to draw for me myself. That's a little sketch that he made for me. I didn't. Well, you see, he was sitting like about a row across from us when we were tabling at Heroes.
Yeah, it was a Heroes Con. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, I bet it's a little embarrassing now, but what I did was I went over to him, and I was like, "All right, so if you draw me something, then I'll draw you something too." And so somehow we made this deal where I drew him one of the guys from Kiss, I think.
Yeah, it was Gene Simmons or one of those guys.
Yeah, I think it was Gene Simmons. And he drew me that, and I somehow got away with it. And I still have the picture with him where we traded. So
first art trade.
Your first art trade.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not a bad way to do it. Yeah. I was quite jealous.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. It's. I don't think either one of us could go to him and ask him to, you know, if he would do a trade with us for one of our drawings. But way to go, Maddy.
I'm doing this. Have everybody in our Sally coming over trying to trade.
Yeah, everybody said that it was a very good deal for him and for you, clearly.
Yeah. I'll never forget that piece I drew.
And so it's framed too, so I assume it's up on the wall somewhere?
Oh yeah, it's in my room. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think pretty much everything we're showing is framed somewhere. But if they're in my gallery, then I just, then I have scans for it. So it's just the ones that I never scanned that we must have just got framed before I scanned them that I had to take pictures of. Yeah.
So I assume you're more of you don't sell a lot. Pretty much everything you get is things that are more like things that you would keep forever. Or what's your philosophy on that at this point in time with your collection?
Well, lately you've been selling some stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my flat files over here are like collapsing from the weight. I mean, that's not a brag. I mean, I just buy a lot of random stuff and convention stuff. So it's kind of like, we fill the walls with frames, and like I usually don't sell anything that I framed. But if I mean, every once in a while, if it's to just see something that might get people's attention, or someone gives me a really high offer for, and I'm just like, it's just in the flat file. I'm like, I guess I should. You know, I get a good price for it. If I look at someone's CAF gallery and it really looks like they love the hobby themselves too, and have some really good pieces and are just trying to, you know, build their collection, you know, then yeah, I'll let a couple slide. I don't want to make it sound like that, because I have most of my items marked as not for sale, and that's really true. So I don't want to encourage, but it does happen every once in a while. But
right. Well, you know, that's an interesting thing you said right there, and you know, I've done the same thing. That when you get an inquiry from somebody who wants to purchase something, especially if it's not listed for sale, or even if it is for sale, you do check out their CAF gallery to see, you know, what are their collecting tastes, how long have they been a member of the site, you know, and you try to get it, especially if you don't know who they are, which, you know, which happens a lot on CAF. So I don't think in any conversation I've had with anybody where they've said, yeah, that's like something I'll do. It's just to see, are they a genuine collector? Might they be looking for a piece by this artist that they're asking, you know, me about? You know, would that be something that would actually, you know, fit with what they're doing? Because, you know, there's always that suspicion, is somebody just buying something so they can maybe flip it, because some, you know, they think if they can get 2 or 3 things together at some point later, they might be able to use it for something else. Right. Or do they appear to be a very sincere collector? And it's hard sometimes to really get a good feel from someone's CAF gallery. They don't write an introduction to their gallery, or they don't really write anything in the about me about themselves that gives you a good vibe. I mean, I would have to believe that, you know, if you don't, that first impression might be like, well, I don't really want to sell, especially if you weren't marketing it in the first place. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say. And like I said, like, sure, someone can always message me. I mean, I did take the Hellboy one down because it was just getting ridiculous. I might put it back at some point. But yeah, no, I don't mind. They can ask. I can just say no, or they can throw an offer down. You know, that has happened where it's like, no, that's probably a no. But then recently, you know, it's been like a large sum, which is, again, it's not about the money that much, but I mean, certainly that helps. I'm not gonna say it's not. You know, so yeah, that's just, I guess, my philosophy there.
No, and I don't blame you for taking that one down too. There are a lot of collectors that don't put out the best work in their CAF gallery because of that very same reason. They'll just get hounded over and over again, and it's just better to pull the piece and not have it out there as an invitation for purchase inquiries. I mean, you know, I don't blame people for that at all. I mean, a lot of people don't use CAF at all for that reason, because they just don't want to be bothered. And right. I get that too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But for the most part, I mean, if I've got something and people want to look through things, see what's out there and see what it looks like, you know, I think it's a great resource. So it's fun to be part of it and look through other people's stuff. It's just a big opportunity to just share, and, you know, like the old community thing, right? Like, you can't really get together with people and be, you know, with your stack of pages or whatever. So yeah, it's great. You have something to say? No? Okay.
When Maddy gets her own CAF gallery, she'll have a lot to say.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see here. Let me get the next piece up here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right there.
Yeah, so you're really hitting like the top of my list for sure. Not that they're all the great. So this is Joe Kubert, who, you know, we talked about, went to the Kubert school. I had Joe for a teacher. I was really lucky to go. That I'm old enough that I went when he was still there teaching. This one, yeah, you know, it's just one of those pieces that I just really loved when I saw it. This predates Sergeant Rock. I think when you look at the listing for what's the title? I'm blanking.
Army at War 138, I think it was.
Oh, okay, yeah, Our Army at War. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think it predates Sergeant Rock. So this Sergeant Fay was like a trial run at creating this character. And I like this because, as knowing Joe as the teacher, this was almost felt to me like an art exercise, because it's like expressions, you know, right. Draw the character with 4 different expressions on it. And the other thing is this top panel, this almost splash, is on a special kind of texture board that he pasted on top of the Bristol, right?
Oh,
so
wow.
It's actually got something on top of it because he wanted that texture where you can see the background, where he just used, some sort of, I don't know, marker type like thing, crayon type thing to make this effect. And you see the tanks and the soldiers and stuff, the planes. So it was just really cool, just knowing him and how he's always experimenting and trying different things. And he was always just bringing random pens and pieces of paper into class to be like, try this. And, he was always saying, you can draw with whatever makes a mark. If it makes a mark, you can draw with it. And so this is great. And so I don't know if this wouldn't be listed very highly on the like top Joe Kubert pieces to acquire, but for me, I just absolutely love it. Yeah, it's oversized and it's next to my desk over there, and just really great. Like again, because Joe Kubert's piece is tough to acquire, and so, but I feel like I might at some day get another piece, Enemy Ace or something like that would always be fun to have. But
Oh yeah.
I just really feel like I've checked the box on this one with Joe. So.
No, I don't blame you. I mean, that's a piece I'd love to hold for a while and just stare at it. I mean, I even those bottom 3 panels look really, really well executed and fantastic, just as great as that top panel.
Yeah, and it's got the marks on it like the old one because they're trying to talk to the printer and the other people like how to print it and everything. So yeah,
right. I'm sure they got that, and they see this textured paper that's glued down to the board.
Yeah,
that's not something that they're going to see too often.
Yeah, I don't know how they did because they didn't have scanners back then, so I'm not sure how they ran that in through the press to make the plates or whatever. So
sure.
But yeah, really neat piece.
And all right, so back to Maddy. This is like a kind of a tennis match here, but we're going to go with this piece right here.
Oh, that's another story. Oh, hooray!
Is this
by Comfort?
Comfort Love, yeah. Emerald City Comic Con, I think?
Yeah, it was Emerald City. So in Emerald City for a couple years in a row, not the last time we went, and I don't think the one before, but usually we would actually sit next to Mouse Guard.
David Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
David Peter, yeah.
And that'll come back later in the story. But anyway, we went to go see Comfort, and I asked for a commission, and I asked for Deadpool. And so I went away, and then I came back, and I got it, and I was like, cool. That's so cool. So I went back to my table, and
David was there.
Yeah. David was there.
And he was like...
And he saw me holding it, and he was like, oh, so you're the kid who got that one. Because apparently he'd gone to go see Comfort previously, and she said, I'm doing this Deadpool for a kid. and he was like, for a kid? And she was like, yeah. And he was like, did this kid ask for like all diseased Deadpool or like the nice kid friendly one? And she was like, oh, it'll be fine.
Yeah, he thought maybe she was doing something that wasn't quite appropriate for who had asked it. But then once Maddy came back with it, he was like, oh no, it all makes sense now. No, it's good.
Yeah, that's not scary at all.
Yeah, it's not scary. It's just the choice to like lift the mask because you hadn't said that specifically.
Oh no, I was just like Deadpool.
Yeah, so it's funny that you did decide to lift the mask. I guess you really want to do the expression, but
cool.
No, totally her upper style. And then the little heart word balloon too.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, she just kind of read you and just said, "This is the image that I think is right," and it was right. It was perfect.
Mm-hmm. Hanging up in my room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Man, I'm jealous. I bought my kids art, and I don't think they have any of it hanging up in their room. So congratulations for that, because you won up to me there.
For him or for me? Because when I put it up, I'm like, all right.
No, well, you, Maddy. I bought art for my kids, and they're sitting in my flat files. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, because I'm like, I got to get these framed now. Because she's like, you need to be up on my wall.
Yeah, one day I'll win.
Right.
Now, yeah, I have one piece that he still hasn't framed from last Comic-Con. Robbie.
Oh, Robbie's the Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he does these big painted ones, and we'll see one of them. So they're expensive to frame. They're like 200 something. Just right. So I mean, it's cool to get them framed and up there. But yeah, the big painted canvas ones are
No, I completely understand that. Yeah, I have actually a Powerpuff Girl cover from Jeff Moy that my kids just wouldn't keep in the room, so I hung it on my wall because I really liked it. I was like, you know what? Forget it, kids. If you're not going to have it on your wall, I'm going to have it on mine. So,
nice.
Yep. It's that's so the most of their art ends up in my room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think at first I have this big wall of 4 on one of my walls, and they're like the oldest pieces we've had because it was in our other house hanging up on the hallway. And I scooped that up and put it on top of my wall. It's one of turtles.
Yeah, sure. We'll get there.
Yeah, yeah. But I have my big 4 there, and I'm the most proud of those.
Yeah.
Very nice.
She's got a wall of like the pages or covers, and then she's got like a mixed one of those like really like collage like ones of all the different commissions that are all like different sizes because like some are so small and like the Jen Bartel Spider-Gwen is like a trading card almost, but we got a frame, so it's like a real mixed. Yeah.
Very, very cool. And yes, Jeff, I do apologize. Yeah, I see your name all the time. That's why Jeff Moy sticks in my head. Yes, it's your brother Phil Moy. I actually own, I think, 5 Powerpuff Girl covers from Phil that I bought for the girls, and they didn't like them as much as I did. So I've got 2 framed on my walls and several interior pages. And Phil even did a really, really cool 3-character color piece at San Diego back in like 2004, 2005, maybe even earlier than that I have framed, and I've made that one be in the living room so everybody has to look at it all the time. So
nice.
Yes, my bad on that one though. Yeah, they are all great covers. All right, so let's see the third piece of artwork here from Tyler. It's a color piece.
Yeah, so I mentioned this earlier. I had to grab this one when I saw it. Luckily, it was available. This was the cover to Batman Annual number 8. Came out in 1983. So Trevor Von Eden and Lynn Varley, who was she colored Frank Miller's early stuff.
Oh yeah.
This was just so I saw this when I was 8 years old on the rack, and this was the one that just first blew my mind as a kid. Like because before that, comics were just just merchandising or whatever. Just get superheroes in a book or whatever. This is the first time I really realized that like these are artists working on this stuff, doing their own take, just experimenting, doing like crazy things. And so I grabbed this one up. I brought it, I showed Trevor, I saw him once at a convention, and I was like, yeah, I own this piece. And I told him that story and everything. And he told me that, when he got the script for that and started drawing, he was being really experimental with it, really like pushing the poses, the anatomy, getting a little weird with it. And he was so worried about like his editor, what he would say, that he finished up the annual, and I think it was a little oversized, so the cover and all the pages, he waited for like, he stood in the hallway at DC and waited for his editor to get up and walk down the hall or go to the bathroom or something like that, and he ran in and just threw it on his desk and took off before he could see like the editor's reaction or get yelled at to do it again, which I'm sure he didn't, because it's just amazing. I mean, everyone who just saw it on the stands, I'm sure, fell in love. And it's just a great piece. And you can see at the bottom, because I had it framed, but I got all the color swatches down there that Lynn must have been doing. Because, I mean, this is traditional paint, on board. So, I mean, the ink and the paint are all right there. It's not digital or done on a different piece. So, I guess I'm just going to say one of my absolute favorites for all of them. But I'm lucky that I've gotten some really great pieces that mean a lot to me that I love having up in the studio, in the hallway, in the kitchen,
Even me as a child made a note of it, and I was like, ooh, Batman in the Sun.
Yeah.
So a piece like that, where did you pick that up? Was that from a dealer or an auction house?
Yeah, I think it was Romita Man at that.
Oh, Berkey, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I just saw it, and I was like, oh my God, there it is.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, it's just sitting there on a dealer, page, and so it was an instant buy for me, for sure. And got it framed, and yeah, I've owned it for quite a while. So
see, I didn't even read DC back then, but I remember that cover. I mean, you just can't forget that image.
Mm. Yeah, no, one of my earliest memories is walking into the drugstore, just blah, 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 candy, comics, this and that, and just spin a rack where you're used to seeing the usual stuff. And I might have just stopped and stared at it for a little while as like my mind processed. I don't know, I don't remember that well, but I definitely remember that moment from 38 years ago.
Time flies.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going back to Maddy, and I think we've got the Peterson story on this one here. Let's see.
Yeah. That's my turtle.
Yeah.
We've had that for a while. Well, actually, you probably have more story.
Yeah, so I grabbed that from David, and not at a convention. It was, I think he just posted it on his website and probably on social media that he had done these and put these up. And I have a couple of mouse guard pages, or whatever. I think this is almost like the shared ones, maybe the mouse guard. But I mean, we love turtles too. I read it as a kid. I read it as a kid. Yeah. I do have a page from Eastman and Laird from the Michelangelo one shot in the snow, which is neat. But we didn't have like a really strong turtles piece, and so when David started doing these covers, I was like, yes. And this one in particular, I was like, oh, this is amazing, Raphael and things like that. And I don't even know I meant to have it. I think that's one of the ones that was in the hallway, and she was just, when we moved in the new house, all of a sudden it was hanging in her room. I guess that's Maddy's now. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, David's great. And we've done, like we said, I think it was like 3 years in a row we tabled next to him. I held on to that booth as long as I could. Eventually got kicked to the other side as they structured things out a bit more. Well, I ended up by Valiant and Vault and Dark Horse. So I guess they were just shifting things around a little bit. We ended up on the other side, and more of the creator-owned stuff was they gave my booth to somebody else. But
no more carpet.
It was tough not being. It was a little bit nicer. It was more of these like personal booths or whatever that they have, and so that was fun being over there next to him and stuff, and getting to know him and his wife, and seeing Mouse Guard and all the toys they put up. So yeah, we really
so many toys. Yeah, I actually have a couple now. They're awesome.
Yeah, this little stuffy Mouse Guard stuff. Mm-hmm. I think he actually does more business with the toys and the things like that at the shows.
Yeah, well, it got me real good with them.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, that's a beauty. I love David's work. I've got I have one Mouse Guard page, a Black Axe page, so it's one of my favorite pieces in my collection. So I've been a huge fan of his work for a long time. So that's a fantastic example. And you have 2 Mouse Guard pages as well. So you said. So
I remember Mouse Guard. Yeah, and I remember just a funny story. I remember I had to take Maddy when she was a baby. I had to take her to a convention that I went to because I was looking for Mouse Guard because they'd come out. And she was actually born in London. So in London, I went to this weird like London show, and I had to like bring her in the stroller. She was just sleeping. It was like a bassinet. And having to like, people were so mad at me. Can you imagine like back issue diving?
Right.
I'm always trying to get in the boxes, and I'm looking for Mouse Guard, and I've got this big bassinet with me. And people are like, can you not reach over my baby? Comic collectors, they don't care.
No, they're like, you should have brought your baby to the show.
I know, exactly. So that was actually my Mouse Guard was when I started reading. That was right when she was born as a kid, so having the baby, and then so eventually was reading them to her and stuff. Those Mouse Guards were great. Those square format ones.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I bought them all, and I love that. That's about the page too, just being a large square page. It's just not something that most people get the pleasure of owning, and his artwork from Mouse Guard is pretty scarce. You pretty much never see pieces like that on the market either. So that people who get them keep them.
Yeah.
I don't have any Mouse Guard pieces of my own, but I have this one like print, which is good. Yeah.
Print.
And that's all.
I have 3 pages from Fall, his first one, and 1 page.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I should have grabbed another one before. They just all sort of disappeared. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they didn't last long whenever he put them up there, and but yeah, no, I love his work, and couldn't be happier for all the success he's had with Mouse Guard. I mean, it's just it was like one of those early, well, not early creator run, but in that period of time, his stuff just stood out when he was doing Mouse Guard as self-published creator-owned stuff, and I just always admired that about him, and just loved the style, and I love the square, like you said, the format, just so neat.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to have a nice, bound square book? So, yep.
Yeah. Really cool.
All right, so it's back over to Tyler here. Let's see.
Sure. Oh yeah, Darwin Cook, Catwoman cover, rough. So I thought this was really neat. Again, because finished pieces are great, but we talked about on the Qbert page that you love seeing the artist's work underneath it, if you can. And so I just thought this was a really cool opportunity that came up to grab something that Darwin Cook's so hard, get stuff for. Even his sketches, when he was doing them were really expensive. So this one was affordable, and it was just really cool. And you can see the pencils. I mean, look, you can see two Catwoman heads, because he obviously was going for one pose. You can see your arm and body underneath it. And then he was just like, nah, and did a different one under marker. And so this is just like a rough, but it's on Bristol 11 by 17. You can see it's like that comic book page. And it just presents just a beautiful full piece. So we have that hanging up in the hallway too. I've managed to keep Maddy from acquiring this one. And I just loved his Catwoman. When that Catwoman came out, it was just so cool. Darwin Cook and Brubaker, this costume and everything. So just to get a piece like this, which to me is just like an amazing. I mean, it for me is just like a top-notch piece. I don't know, what the value is on the market. I remember I bought it pretty cheap and I've never let it go. But I guess it's one of those, whether it's just personal taste or whatever. But I almost find this more appealing just because it's so interesting, and you just see so much of his work on it, right? The penciling, the marker of it, getting the poses down. Just so much. I'm like staring at it now. It's on the screen, and it's like I own it. I'm just like, man, just look at this. Yeah. Just fascinating. Just stare at. Yeah.
Right. No. I mean, when I made the slide, I felt the same. I felt the same way, just staring at it. And I mean, but that's what's great about you have a piece you love when you can go back to it later and always still be impressed and amazed by it. And so much of Darwin's work is like that. Where I don't own anything by him, but I love seeing it in people's CAF galleries, and it's stuff that you really you want to dive into and look at closer. But no, that's the best part about being an art collector, is rediscovering pieces in your collection and why you love them, and like you're just doing right there.
I was so lucky to grab that piece too, because I probably wouldn't own if that hadn't crossed my path on, I think, just like eBay or something. Mm-hmm. I probably wouldn't own a Darwin Cook piece right now, because I don't know. I mean, they've just always been expensive, and just gotten more so. And I don't know, I probably never would have pulled the trigger until it was too late. So yeah, I'm happy that nice sort of affordable piece crossed my path for sure. You all right? You need some coffee?
Uh-oh, it's getting late.
We're all right. She's usually up. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's back to Maddy now, so you got to be ready for this one.
Again. Yeah. So that's my what's it? Well, that's my Supergirl piece. Well, technically, he actually got some offers to take it off my hands, but I was just like, no, that's mine.
Yeah. So Being Super came out, and we bought that first issue. This was the cover to it. And then what's his Cadence comic art put it up. Paolo.
Right, because this is Joelle Jones.
Joelle Jones, yeah, Joelle. And we know, I have a bunch of pieces from Joelle, and when I first moved out to Portland, she was out there, and I was just, acquiring some commissions or pre-Lady Killer prints. I have one of those paintings from like an old 50s ad, which was kind of her template for doing Lady Killer. But then, I don't think Maddy was reading much of the stuff till Being Super came out. And that book has had a lot of life. Like I see it in bookstores now in the YA section and stuff. They changed the format to being smaller. And but they keep using this cover image. I see it a lot. So I remember seeing it go up on that. I think I'm getting it right. Cadence Comic Art.
It is Cadence, yep.
Yeah. And it just came up, and it was just the price, like the regular cover price. I mean, I think we all kind of know the figure. And I was like, to me, this wasn't a regular cover. So yeah, I grabbed that one, and I knew I was grabbing it for her because she's the one that loved that issue and that series.
3-point perspective.
Oh yeah, and the perspective too. So
right, that's one artist to another there.
Yeah. So great to have. And then, this is on her amazing wall of covers with the turtles and the Usagi, which I'm sure we'll get to.
Yeah, it's really fun to look at because whenever I see it, I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah. It's almost the question, like, might it work the other way, where the house is right side up and she's upside down? But
that was why I flipped it. I mean, typically,
you did flip it. Yeah, the big version is this.
Yeah, well, typically when I make my slides, I would never do that, but I saw that and I thought, I was trying to crop it with her upside down, and I'm like, it just looks the same, so let me just flip it over, and I just thought, and it worked. Mm-hmm. So very nice pickup. That's a beauty and great storytelling in that as well.
She's a beauty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now this next piece, I think we actually talked about this next piece, Tyler, because I think George might have picked this up. On the collector show we do on Sundays, each person, we have 4 collectors, and they have a topic that they write themselves, but each person has to pick 2 pieces of artwork to talk about. And I'm pretty sure we talked about it, but now we get to hear about it from you as well.
Oh, that's his. I was with him when he got that, and we were both like, wow, that's so cool.
It's like, because this was a commission.
Yeah.
And just like, you never know what you're going to get when you pick up a commission.
Yeah.
This was just a Heroes Con commission. I mean, that's how crazy it was. And Jason with Essential Sequential or whatever had Tommy Lee Edwards there. Who's just amazing, and he was just like, oh, he's opening up for commissions, so I grabbed one. It wasn't a cheap commission, but it was still sort of like con commission like prices. So I mean, sometimes you just get a inked figure, on paper.
Yeah, I mean, I remember this. So we were both like walking to go pick it up, and we receive it, and then after we walk a little bit away, he pulled it out, and he was like, shit, dude. And so he showed it to me, and I was like, damn.
Just
and we were like freaking out, like, wow.
Yeah, I was like winning the lottery or something like that.
Yeah, we both agreed that. We were like, yeah,
this is like a painted cover like thing, and so to get this as just a con commission is just amazing to do it. And I collect Mohawk Storms. I have a bunch of them, and this is definitely like my number one if I had to pick. And there's some amazing ones in there. This is just so great. I mean, it's different from most of the other ones with the umbrella and everything like that. Less actiony, but just so dynamic. I mean, she's not doing much, other than calling on the lightning. But yeah, I just, obviously, just really cool, really, really cool piece.
And I've seen Tommy do, not that image, of course, but because I think I've seen him at Heroes once or twice before too. And I've seen him at a few shows, and he'll knock a few of them out of there like that during a con, and it's just amazing. Because he's got that. He had done a lot of like Harry Potter illustration stuff. I think he's done some Star Wars work. I mean, so he's used to doing these really just beautiful cinematic images, and to be able to see him do something like that at his show is just amazing. I can imagine why you were, exuberant as you were walking away.
Really? Yeah, because I mean, a lot of art, when you choose to buy it, you see what you're getting. And so I mean, that's the thing with commissions. It's like you don't find out till you got to pick it up. So that's great. Yeah, and he just did that at the show. I mean, I know at Heroes they have for the art auction they'll put up canvases and stuff for people to do, and you're always amazed that they just kind of did that up there. But I mean, I think this one's even just wow, just do something of that quality. Sitting there at a booth or whatever is really cool.
Yep, I agree. I had a similar experience with Dan Brereton once. He did a Dark Phoenix, and it was just blown away because another painter, But to get something like that as a commission at a con and to just be floored by how beautiful it is, and you just, the same thing. I probably said a few swear words on my way walking away as well. When I went back to whoever's booth I was hanging out with and showed it off and like, this is what I got. That's always a great feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty great.
So now we get to see the Stan Sakai piece. So let's,
hooray, my prized possession.
I think you already said that.
Yes.
Well, this is my favorite. Even when it was hanging up in our other house back in Portland, Oregon, I would like pass it and be like, yep, that is cool. But yeah, I didn't acquire it myself, but I definitely stole it.
Well, I kind of knew. I mean, my own fault since reading Usagi to her since a kid. I mean, we've read maybe several times. Like, what is there, 24 volumes in that first run, and now there's even some new ones coming out.
Yeah.
And we've just read it all like many times. We actually saw Stan at
the play.
There was a play. I don't know if you know in Portland because Dark Horse was up there back when he was with Dark Horse. They did some small arts school or something like that did a
play.
Like they dressed up in kind of like costumes just on stage and did the story. Just one of the stories that he did, and we actually ended up. I just bought tickets. We ended up sitting next to Stan Sakai, like 2 seats over.
Yeah, he like booked me and he was like, "Hey, that's Stan Sakai," and I was like, "Wow."
Yeah, really neat. So you did get to meet him. Then was that the first time meeting him?
No, I met him once before at a Comic-Con, but that's when I had. I think there were 2 things, but I actually had my books with me, so I actually got one of them signed. My 2 favorites. One of them was Usagi Ojumbo, Father and Son, and the other one, I forget the title of it, but it was with Tomo, the one with her. So I got both of those signed, so that's cool. I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah, those are our favorites. But I bought this from Stan at a San Diego con. I think maybe that was either you were just at the hotel or because you were quite young. I can't remember the year, but because I was taking her when you were 4 months old, a year and 4 months old. But a lot of time my wife and her were back at the hotel. I just went and he had just a small stack of all covers. I didn't realize that until someone said he just sells covers. But that sounds about right, that it was just covers. And it was tough to pick, but this one was so cool. I remember reading it and having the bats, the ninja bats. I forgot. Do you remember their exact name?
No, but they're ninjas.
Yeah. And then it's the grass cutter storyline, which is the name of the sword that he had to like pull out from the ocean or whatever. Had a meaning. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. And it was this big hunt for the sword and everything. So that's what he's got holding up there. So yeah, just really neat. We've had this for a while. And we just both love Stan Sakai. He's probably the one artist that we've truly followed from when I was a kid reading as an 8-year-old to
when I was a kid reading.
Yeah, this book. So, yep.
That's beautiful, and just the way the heavy blacks kind of move your eye around the page, pulls you into the center and then brings you back up around. It's a fantastic piece, and the composition is amazing.
Yeah, water. Yep. Yeah, we talk about composition a lot. He uses the clouds a lot too on the interior pages, and you're just like, just really like look at the movement of the clouds. Really neat to look at. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. That's
every piece. We're like, my prize.
At some point, we're not going to be able to say that anymore.
I'll be like, no, this one's not.
Oh man! All right, so we're going back to Tyler here, and this is a very nice Romita Jr. page.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yep. Another one just right up here. Yeah. I love this run as a kid when it was getting into the superheroes. Anna Senti wrote it, and so that's why I love that the dialogue, the word balloons are on there too. Because when you love, a writer on a project too, it's neat to have those in there. And then Romita Jr. and Al Williamson inking overall for this series. And one of the cool things to see about a piece like this is where you can see Al jumping in. Like, I don't like this background, but people probably can't see what I'm pointing to. But that bottom right panel, left panel, sorry, you see that background. Looks like he just put that in because that's just texture right there, some sort of marker. And then you see the texture on her face on the right over there and on the top. And there's that cool open panel. And one of the things I liked about the Daredevil is very sort of like culturally, socially aware. This is about, an environmental issue. She's like an environmental terrorist, and he's like discussing with her the moral implications of what she's doing versus, I guess what he's doing. So it just really encapsulated what I loved about that series from the art and the story. And yeah. I mean, I'm just saying for all of them, one of my favorite pieces.
No, it is absolutely amazing, and you're right. I mean, the contributions that the inkers put into some of the pieces, you just never know, but you have to believe that they're, because they're looking at the overall piece as well, and they might have just drawn in Daredevil there and just knew that it felt right to add in that the background around them and stuff, and so. Yeah, the contributions from inkers can never be diminished as part of the process. And Al Williamson, of course, being, he was such a great compliment to John Romita Jr. So, that's a beautiful, beautiful page.
Yeah, fantastic one, yeah.
Yeah, you guys have a really great collection. I think everybody who's watching tonight would agree.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, their pieces mean a lot to us, either because things that we read, or what I read as a kid, or just from artists that we've met and really like. So,
or the experience.
The experience and the stories, which is, it's fun to come on and talk about these.
All right, so we're going back to Maddy. We got 2 more pieces for each of you.
Okay, great.
Oh, that is one of my auction pieces. I won it along with one of my Big Robbie pieces, but yeah, that one. That's one of my winning prizes.
Yeah, so how this ended up as being yours, I don't know, just because you loved like bidding on it so much. But Fabio Moon did this is from the series Bitch Planet, I think, or unless it's Gula from Casanova, but she just has a non-compliant tattoo.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember which one it is.
Oh.
But that tattoo, the NC is from the Bitch Planet thing that he put on there. But he did this at Heroes Con, and it just went up for auction, and it was just really neat. And you just, I don't know, you really loved it, even though you didn't know the character.
I mean, it looks very cool.
That's a great illustration.
I think one of the pieces we have, I don't know if it was this one, but I think we were like waiting in line, and you looked over and you saw a piece going up that you liked, but it was going for cheap, and you were like, holy bejesus, that's pretty cheap. So like,
there's a different piece. Yeah, we were like checking out. So they have this whole night where it's the auction, and you bid on your pieces and what you win, and they just sort of hold it for you, and you decide when you want to like check out. And so a lot of people go check out when there's still like, 3 or 4, 10 pieces left or whatever. And then also people peter out and leave, and or run out of money, so you can get some bargains. I think that was a Psylocke piece from Ben Temple-Smith.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I think that was the thing.
Which we saw him the next day, and he was like, "Yeah, that one way too cheap."
Oh wow!
Yeah, back to that one. Yeah, Fabio Moon and his brother Gabriel from Brazil, and they come up to shows, and I just really love their artwork. And I don't know how much they do traditionally, and of course, this is on a big board, and so I just really wanted to buy it. Mm-hmm. And again, one that you just sort of ended up just acquiring because she's just, I love that. But I think she was bidding on it, raising the thing and stuff like that. So I have to give her credit for being the one who won the auction. So
the man on the field.
Yeah, very intimidating.
Right. I'd love to see that Ben Temple. So is that in your gallery, your CAF gallery?
It should be. I believe I put it in there. Yeah, it was a Psylocke piece.
I love Ben's work. I mean, he's one of my favorite artists. He's a really nice guy, and I've always just enjoyed his work immensely. So yeah, I'll have to check. I didn't get to. You have so many pieces in your gallery. I only browsed through like not even a third of it when I was just checking it out before the show. So
yeah, a lot of like different stuff, which is why sometimes I do miss something and I didn't scan it in, and or or like I said, framed it first. But yeah, that was in line, just like yelling out, sorry, wrong way, like like, over here. Like,
you have in your CAF gallery. You have a Mohawk Storm by Ben.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's my collection, the Mohawk Storm. Did I not put the Silex up?
No, the Silex's not up there, but the Mohawk Storm is awesome. So, wow. Yeah, that's amazing.
Sorry, I'll have to dig that out. So flat files over here. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know. I guess when I come back from Heroes Con, it just overwhelms. I'm coming back from a convention, from traveling, and I probably have like 10 to 12 pieces.
Not to mention when we get back, it's usually nighttime, so we're just like, go to bed, go to bed, go to bed.
Yeah, from driving all day.
I know updating your CAF gallery is not the first thing on your mind when you get home. I get it. But yeah, no, if you ever post it, shoot me an email. I'd love to. Check it out.
I'll do that. Well, now I got to go hunt it down, but pull it out. But yeah, now I have to scan it in for sure.
All right, very nice though. That's wow. So all right, let's okay. Now we're going back over to Tyler here. So we got a P. Well, let's see. How do we pull this one up?
Oh, it's back to me.
Yes, yes, right. Yes, P. Craig Russell.
Yeah. So he did Dream Hunters. This was a mini series. Neil Gaiman obviously and him did is separate from the regular series, because I know P. Craig did number 50, Arabian Nights issue and things like that. But this was a really cool separate mini series. And Sandman art obviously is, as you know, is just really hard to get. So again, just following him on social media, he started doing these. I don't know what you would call it. It's like a recreation he did himself of this. This was an actual cover that looked similar to this. But rather that he must have already sold just the ink artwork, but he did this like twice up, so it's really big. And then he took these color pens, these are like green and yellow marker pens, and just did the colors like on the piece. So yeah, it's just a great way to own Sandman art. It's not the actual published version of it, but visually it's more impressive than whoever has the more 11 by 17 just black and white of it. And for me, I don't have any exact rules, like is a published piece better, non-published piece, commission or whatever. I mostly just go by what speaks to me, the art itself, the artist. Just back to composition and the talk about the clouds we were just talking about with Stan Sakai. Kind of got that similar vibe there with his clouds, just the movement and the colors. Just. Wow, way to check off the box of both Sandman and P. Craig Russell with an amazing piece. And I just feel, it's very individualistic, for just what really jumped out to me. So,
no, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. And ML in the chat was admiring your Tradmore Mohawk Storm as well, and so I had to check it out, and it's an absolutely beautiful.
It was just a head sketch because Trad stuff to get from, but yeah, I've had a few people that I've, if I could get a big figure, painted color, I'll do that. But if they just want to do a head sketch, you take what you can get for sure. Yeah.
Wow. And everybody's mentioning the faces in the clip.
Yeah, it's really neat that.
Yeah, I've always loved Russell's work. It's just. Everything even currently that he's been putting out is just very, very imaginative, and his style is just, I could look at it all day. He was like the king of posters back in like this late 70s and 80s. There was always just when posters were a thing. There were so many really cool ones that he put out there, and I as a kid, as big into comics, I used to always buy like as many of those posters as I could get. So.
Oh, cool! I don't know anything about that. I have a poster he did for Mocha Art Festival. About that convention?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, they would have artists do it, and he did one of those. I can't remember the year or whatever. I didn't buy it at the time, but I found it later, so I have the poster, not the original art, just the poster itself. Right. It's so cool to have. Yeah. So.
All right, so we got last pieces for both of you, and
really.
Wow.
And yeah, this is I put the photograph with this one, so yeah, I think that well, we'll see what everybody says. Look at that.
That was
there
from
you
a
go.
while ago.
That was our first auction. Yeah. So yeah, you want to talk? You want me to explain?
Yeah, this is all on you, Maddy.
So I know. So in Portland, I joined a studio to work to get out of the house. And Robbie Rodriguez was in the studio with me. It was actually when he was coming up with Spider-Gwen. He was drawing it on the desk and stuff. So I always thought it was really cool. And I ran downstairs. We were above Floating World, the comic shop, when that Spider-Man comic, Spider-Gwen comic came out. Edge of Spider-Verse #2, which that was a good pickup for me for grabbing it. So I've been reading her Spider-Gwen since the beginning, been one of her favorite characters. And, so we were in Heroes Con together, and he did this up on stage, this painted thing for the auction. And yeah, we went to the auction and you bought it. And I think that's probably what prompted the whole her going to the auction and raising the number, because she just
was like, that was fun.
Well, we talked. We must have had to strategize before that, like what we were going up to.
Oh yeah, he was like, "I'm gonna tap you, and then you're gonna go like this," and I was like, "Yes."
And we kind of talked about what we do, and so we went in on that one. And yeah, and of course, Maddy always being in the more mature, dirty mouth. She takes to that stuff. She just loved the middle finger. It's actually like webbing in this case. She's giving like the webbing middle finger. But yeah, so of course he wanted to take a picture with him afterwards with the everybody giving the middle finger. So yeah, that's what we did. And yeah, so that was great. So
no, that's a wonderful memory right there. I tell you, that's great. That is. Oh wow,
double finger. So.
Well,
Yeah,
I think in the weren't you giving the finger in the Scotty Young photograph?
Yeah. So you didn't share that one. So I mean,
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. But yeah, so we didn't tell Scotty we were going to do that. Obviously, this was pre-planned with Robbie because of the painting and everything. Sure. So when we got that page from him at the Felix booth, he leaned in for us like, "Oh, let me get a picture with you," and everything like that. So right before I took it, she like put up her middle fingers, and then so Scotty's face is just like, candid.
I thought she was a sweet little child, and little did he know.
Because she was just a little kid at the time, so he loved it. So yeah, so that was great. Yeah.
Well, that was a good score. That was a really nice score at the auction. Then that's see, now you're making everybody want to go to the next the 2022 Heroes.
22,
more competition.
Yeah,
bring it on.
Yeah.
So,
well,
and I think this was the shirt from that show too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Doesn't fit me anymore.
Oh yeah, I got a small one for her, but she grew out of it. So that's why she has to wear my old shirts now.
Well, as you get bigger, then you can just hand them down.
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
It happens. All right. Well, Maddy, we've seen your 8, and they were fantastic. You have incredible taste, and I can't wait we should do another interview in like another 5-10 years to see what the collection looks like, and to see how how your skills as an artist have grown from now till then. We'll have something to compare it to. So very, very nice. But I can tell you got a passion for it, and that's great. I mean, I think all of us as collectors, we would only have wished that we would have been turned on to original comic art, before we were in our teens. So you're very fortunate to have gotten us started this so young, and to have an appreciation for that. And I can tell you, we all admire that. I think that's fantastic.
I'm being admired.
So I bring her to the conventions and stuff. It's a world where comic geeks are loved and appreciated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now this last piece is it's kind of just a total 360 from what we've been looking at already, I think, in a way, as far as like the period. And so let's take a look at this one.
Yeah. So I just thought when I was picking my pieces, it was like, well, I gotta share this one. It is a bit rare. I don't have a lot of old art. and it's not like I read Hal Foster as a kid or Prince Valiant or really knew of it. It was well before my time. But when I went to art school and started learning about the classic artists and that, Hal Foster was, because I used to think like Golden Age, it was so crude. And, you look at those early Superman or whatever, like, nothing against them, but it's not like, it doesn't really hold up as well. But you look at this, and this was before that time, and it's just amazingly detailed. The figure drawing is just so great. So I had this appreciation for Hal Foster, and this came up, and it's just a panel on its own. But it's not super big, but it's I don't know, what is it, like 8x8 or something like that?
I was gonna say it's probably 8x8 or 10x10. Yeah, I mean it's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. So just getting something like this is just a great little moment with Prince Valiant, and I've gotten some of the hardcover like reprints of stuff, to look through. So I mean, again, not nothing I'm like nostalgic for because it's even my time, but just having some really old artwork. If you love the medium, just like the building blocks that this medium, this art form was built off of. Someone like Hal Foster and Prince Valiant is, not technically a comic book, more from the newspaper, things like that, but just really great and cool, and we have it hanging on our wall, and just really neat. I don't know, just have the little dog in there and the horse. It's great. It's a really cool drawing.
Right. No. I mean, literally, nothing out of place. Nothing.
Yeah.
It's got everything it needs. It's just one of the best illustrations by Foster that I've seen in a long time. But I mean, I love all of Hal Foster's work. That one's just beautiful. I mean, it's like having a wonderfully finished like a Frazetta piece that's small and in ink. You look at it, you have the same wonder and appreciation for seeing something like that. So that's you've got such a fantastic collection, well-rounded collection, both of you. I mean, very, very impressive. And and the thing is, I don't think I'd even ever been to your CAF gallery until we emailed about a month ago. And that's the crazy thing with CAF is there's just so much art there and so many people that have CAF galleries that you miss things fall through the cracks. And I'm on there all the time, so it's wonderful to discover new collectors, and and that's why we've been doing these chats. It's just great to get to know the people who appreciate the hobby like the rest of us, and who've been been around CAF and around shows that we've probably been at, because I went to Heroes probably 7 straight years from about 2002 to 2009. So we were all at the same shows. It's just but things were so different then. I mean, I can't wait for when we can get back to shows and hang out and get to because it's just going to be such a different experience after having all this time off with COVID and everything. So. Yeah, 2022 HeroesCon, everybody. That's going to be the place to be. I'm letting everybody know right now. Yeah. I'm going to be there.
Yeah. We'll be motivated to get down there. It could very well be our first show, at least fully being there. Rather than just popping our head in. So yeah. Let's come to that. Let's have an awesome auction. I'm really looking forward to that show. Get a new shirt. Get a shirt that fits you. Yeah, for sure. So.
Awesome. Well, again, it's been a really great chat this evening. I'm glad you both took the time out of your evening tonight to share it with us. And like Clinton said, he's going to be there's so many collectors that are on the East Coast, and where Heroes is their favorite show. So yeah, I mean, I can guarantee you we will work up some kind of a Comic Art Live, Comic Art fans get together in 2022 at the Heroes show, and so it'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure it'll involve one of the hotels nearby, but we'll definitely do some kind of get together.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, well, this was a lot of fun. We love talking about this stuff. It was great to I don't know, just have a reason to look at these pieces that we have and talk about them, inspect them, and realize we have a lot of great pieces that we can't decide which is the prize of our collections. They're all the prize of our collections.
One of them.
Yeah.
Right. No. I totally, but that's great. I mean, you really do. Your collections were really, really, really nice. And it's sometimes I'll do an interview and it's okay. I like looking at a lot of artwork, but you guys really have just a really nice breadth of things that I don't see typically that are sort of mainstream and sort of not at the same time. And you know, that, and it was nice seeing that the Hellboy piece in particular. You know, it's something that, like you said, you've removed from CAF, but you didn't mind sharing it with us this evening. So, you know, thank you so much for that.
Sure. Yeah. My pleasure. Yeah. Awesome.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, and we'll definitely just try to check out more of the episodes as you do them, and some of the dealer ones as well. They look like a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, they're fun. We do different stuff. We do sketch shows. You know, we've because not all the stuff we do are like the high end stuff. So like whenever we're up against a heritage signature auction or something, and we know everybody's saving their money for that, we'll go and do a lower end kind of show. And like I mentioned, we had really good success with the one on Monday of this week. So we're talking about doing more of that. You know, it's like, you know, we just want to keep things different all the time. I never want to kind of sit on my hands and just coast with stuff. So we're always looking for fun, different things to do. And I was talking with some people today about working with some artists to do online art drops, you know, like kind of Saturday afternoon kind of thing. So I think there's a lot of fun potential with the channel and doing, you know, live sales that I think we're going to experiment with going forward. And, you know, just keeping it as fun as, you know, trying to get out to a show. So yeah, definitely tune into those when we have them.
You're great.
And all right. Well, so again, thank you so much. And I do want to remind everybody, I'll be on Nick's show tomorrow night from 7 to 8, and we'll have those really nice deals on some Thor and X-Men pages and whatnot. And I'll make sure I share a link with everybody tomorrow so they can join Nick and I. And, you know, Maddy, Tyler, it was a lot of fun. And I can't wait to meet you guys in person next year.
Yeah, let's do it. Sounds great.
All right. So good night, everybody, and we'll see you again soon.